Welcome back, everybody. Today, we're going to be diving into this viral video that's been making the rounds online. It features, I guess you could say, a Nigerian lady who convinced her dad to pretend he's disabled to apply for a grant. And yeah, a 5 million Naira grant, which is, I don't know, a lot of money. We've got the original video for this one. We also have some reactions from TikTok. And we have a really great article from legit.ang that breaks down what's going on here.
So hi guys, my name is Tochi and this is my dad, Mr. John Onwason. So we are here to apply for the 5 million naira grant for the disabled. So my dad here has been down with stroke for 8 years and that is why we are applying for this grant. Daddy, say hi. Yes, this is my dad. So please, if there is any way that we will be very glad if we can stand a chance of winning this 5 million naira grant, because it will be very helpful to me and my family. Thank you and God bless you. Just look at my daddy.
This is a really, really interesting case study that shows just how easily something that might start as a family joke can turn into something much bigger. We'll be taking a look at the family dynamics at play here, how different cultures perceive disability, and well, I guess we could say the allure of a big financial incentive, especially in a place like Nigeria where, as you said, 5 million Naira can change your life.
So in the legit.ang article, it describes how the daughter in this video tells her dad that they need to film a video for this grant application, and she claims that he's had a stroke for 8 years.
Yeah.
And get this, the dad totally commits to this. He goes all out.
Yeah, from what I saw, his performance is actually quite convincing. He even incorporates, I think they're called Imbo dance moves.
Yeah?
Which just adds, well, kind of an unexpected layer of cultural context to the whole thing.
Yeah.
Almost like performance art, but obviously with some potentially serious consequences.
Yeah, the article also points out that while he's doing all this, while he's acting, he's worried about his siblings seeing the video. Like, he's actually concerned about his reputation, which just adds another layer of complexity to his actions.
Right. It's such a good example of the nuances of human behavior. You know, on the surface, he's playing along with this prank. It seems like he's even having fun with it. But then underneath it all, there's this worry, this concern for how he's being perceived by others. It's really fascinating.
So this video has blown up on TikTok, and people are having all kinds of reactions to it. Some people just think it's hilarious. You know, they're praising his acting skills, saying he deserves an award. But then others are questioning the ethics of it all, you know? Is it insensitive? Is it even unethical? And some people are actually expressing fear for his health. They're worried that faking a disability could, well, I don't know, maybe somehow have a real impact. Like maybe it could backfire on him somehow.
It's interesting how these reactions kind of reflect the many different ways people view disability.
Yeah.
In some cultures, it's seen as something to be feared or even seen as, you know, a result of spiritual forces. This video, even if it's intended as a joke, might be tapping into some of those deeper cultural anxieties.
What are your thoughts on that? Do you think this prank, if we can even call it that, do you think it crosses a line?
It definitely raises some ethical questions.
Yeah.
Humor can be really powerful, but it's always important to be aware of the potential impact, especially when you're dealing with sensitive topics like disability, you know?
Yeah, this case really brings up this larger issue of social safety nets and economic hardship, right? If someone feels like they have to pretend to have a disability to get financial support, what does that say about, you know, the systems that are supposed to be helping people?
It exposes a very real desperation that so many people are facing. It's a reminder that 5 million Naira, which, I mean, yeah, it seems like a huge amount of money, represents a life-altering opportunity for many people in Nigeria. I think that context helps us to kind of understand the motivation behind this whole prank, even if we don't necessarily agree with how they went about it.
So then it makes you wonder, what if this video is taken seriously? What if the authorities actually believe it and start an investigation? What could happen?
Well, the daughter could face actual legal repercussions from misleading authorities, right?
Right.
Which brings up all these questions about, you know, where do we draw the line with pranks and what are the unintended consequences that can come from something that was meant to be harmless? It's a lot to consider.
And then on a larger scale, you know, what could this mean for public trust? Could this make people more skeptical of legitimate disability claims down the road?
Yeah, that's a very valid concern. This video, you know, even if it was intended as a joke, could contribute to this environment, this climate of suspicion that ultimately harms those who actually need support. It almost reminds me of, the story of the boy who cried wolf. If we become desensitized to actual struggles because we keep seeing these fabricated portrayals, it becomes a lot easier to just dismiss people's legitimate needs.
This whole situation really reminds us that in the age of viral content, something that starts out as a private joke within a family can escalate really quickly into something with huge societal implications.
Yeah, it really highlights how these online platforms have so much power to shape the way we see things, how they influence our conversations and public discourse. And it begs the question, what can we do as individuals to make the internet a more responsible place?
It's like we're navigating this minefield of information. How are we supposed to figure out what's real, what's satire, what's intentionally misleading? It can be really hard to tell sometimes.
I think now more than ever, it's crucial to have strong critical thinking skills.
Yeah.
We need to be able to really evaluate our sources, consider all sides, and question our own biases. I know it's not easy, especially when we're bombarded with so much information from every direction. But I think engaging thoughtfully with the world around us is more important than ever.
This whole prank, if that's what we're calling it, has really opened up this Pandora's box of ethical questions and societal issues. It really reminds us that even things that seem lighthearted can have serious consequences, especially when they're spread online.
Yeah, it's a real challenge to think critically about our role in building a more responsible online culture and being mindful of the power our actions have, even when our intention is just to have a laugh or entertain people.
Yeah, it's interesting how this video, even if it started as, a harmless prank, could potentially do some real damage to people's trust in these systems. Systems that are supposed to help people who are really struggling.
Right, exactly. Um, the potential damage to public trust is a huge concern here. When people see things like this, when they see these instances of people faking hardship, it can make them a lot more skeptical of genuine claims. And that skepticism can lead to, well, basically a reluctance to offer help, which ends up hurting the people who really need it.
It's like a reminder that what we do online, even the stuff you think is private or not a big deal, can have consequences, ripple effects that we don't always see coming, especially in the digital age, right?
That's a good point. I think this incident really highlights the need for more empathy and understanding online. Just recognizing that everyone's going through their own stuff, their own struggles. And while humor can be a way to cope, it's super important to be sensitive to the difficulties that other people might be going through.
So thinking about the daughter, her motivation, it's obvious that the money, the possibility of getting that huge financial reward was a factor here. But, does that excuse her actions?
It's true. I think we can all understand wanting financial security, especially when you're dealing with, a tough economy. But even if it was framed as a prank, resorting to deception like this brings up some serious ethical issues.
And then, this video, it gives us a glimpse into how families work, those complex dynamics. We see a daughter convincing her dad to, take part in something that could be really risky. What do you think that says about their relationship? Maybe even the kinds of pressure they're facing.
Right. It reminds us that families aren't immune to financial stress.
Yeah.
And the challenges that come with that. This video, even though it's presented in kind of a humorous way, it hints at there's like a deeper story there. A story about family bonds, about financial strain, and about just how far people will go for the people they love. It's pretty powerful.
It is. It's amazing to me how, what seems like a simple prank, something people might just scroll past, can actually tell us so much about, how society is structured, our cultural beliefs, even our relationships with each other.
Oh, absolutely. It's a real testament to the power of just paying attention, really thinking critically. By digging a little deeper, looking below the surface, we can learn so much about the world around us.
I totally agree. So this video has gotten a ton of attention online, but I'm curious to hear from you, from our listeners, what really stands out to you in all of this? What part of it do you connect with the most?
Well, to me, what's really striking is how the lines are getting blurrier and blurrier between what's real and what's performance, especially when it comes to social media. This video, it was supposed to be a prank, but it could so easily be misconstrued, taken out of context. It makes you think about authenticity,
Yeah.
the power of the stories we tell, and the responsibility we all share in making the internet a more truthful and, I think, a more empathetic place.
I think you hit the nail on the head there. This whole thing really forces us to confront these uncomfortable questions about, what we value and how we make our way through this increasingly complicated digital world. It's not easy.
I think that's right. It's like a call to action for all of us.
Mm.
We need to be more careful about the information we're taking in. We need to think critically about the things we're putting out there, the stuff we create and share.
Mm.
And I think we need to really try to champion empathy and integrity in the way we interact with each other online. You know,
Mhm.
treat each other with respect.
So as we're wrapping up our look at this viral video and all the kind of complicated questions it brings up, what's like one big takeaway you think our listeners should really think about?
I think this case really drives home how important it is to be aware of the impact our actions can have. Like even when, you're just trying to be funny or make people laugh, it reminds us that even pranks, even things that seem harmless, can have these unintended consequences, especially when they touch on sensitive topics or, potentially take advantage of systems meant to help people.
Yeah, it's true. It's easy to get caught up in the humor or, the shock value of something you see online, but we got to remember there are real people behind all of that, real lives being affected.
Right. Exactly. And the way we engage with that content, whether we like it or share it or comment on it, all of that plays a part in shaping what the internet is like. And it influences how other people see these issues.
So it's not just about like passively watching stuff online. It's about taking responsibility for the kind of environment we're creating, like trying to make the internet a more responsible place, a place where people feel safe and understood.
I think that's a really important point. It's about realizing that we all have a role to play in shaping the narrative, and making sure that the messages we're amplifying online are messages of compassion and understanding.
Well, this whole deep dive into this disabled dad prank, it's been a wild ride. It's crazy how something that seems so simple at first can turn into like this whole web of ethical and social and cultural issues. It's definitely made me rethink some of my own online habits.
Me too. I think it's a good reminder for all of us. We should be more mindful of what we're consuming online and what we're putting out there.
Mm,
And maybe we can all try to strive for a digital world that's, both fun and ethical.
yeah,
A place where we can laugh and learn and connect with each other in meaningful ways.
absolutely. Well, thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We hope it's given you some stuff to think about and maybe even inspired you to look at the online world with fresh eyes, you know, with a little more awareness and empathy. So until next time, keep exploring, keep asking questions, and keep diving deep.